Starting. How are we looking, everybody? Everybody hear me okay? Do I look okay? Well, apart from all the obvious, but do I look okay? Perfect. Thank you, Aletta. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see some usual faces in the chat already. I do apologise for being quite late. Unfortunately, our son George, he works at Sports Direct, and they work him to the bone, and he doesn't finish till 8:30 over in Cribbs Causeway, which is about 5-6 miles away from where we live. So, being the great dad that I am, we went and picked him up, brought him home, and he's just cooking his tea now. So, sorry to be late, but family comes first, as it always does. So, anyway, thanks for all of you for tuning in. There's a lot of stuff going on in the comments already. Saul Goodman, yeah, it is Saul Good. Lots of talk about power supplies. Welsh Tony, only 11 minutes late. Yeah. Late for my own stream. Terrible. I do apologise. I promise a little bit that it might not happen again, but it probably will. Family always comes first. Good man. Yeah. Not that I got a lot of choice. I do what I'm told around here. I'm definitely not the king of the castle in this household. Anyway, so let's get started. So what we got for you today? We have got some unboxings from our friends at RIOTORO. You've seen the power supply that we had last week, which some of you may have seen the video I think I released today, talking about the power supply, going into a bit more detail. Really lovely power supply. Fitted it in the computer this week, and it's currently in my machine over there. It was a really nice power supply to fit, and there's going to be a video on the fit-in and the before and afters, and you can see how dramatic the change was of having a decent power supply in the computer rather than the old crappy, what was it, OCZ 750W. So yeah, we've got products from RIOTORO. So we've got a Prism mouse, we've got a Ghostwriter Prism keyboard, and we've got the CR500 case. So I don't know if any of you have tuned in specifically to see any one of those three that I mentioned. If you have, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and do that one first, just to get out of the way for you. But if not, I'll just go through it step by step. Also, what we've got as well is we received a surprise gift this week. Well, in fact, it was today, which is just behind us. Now, this has come from one of you guys out there, Harvey. I don't know if you're in the chat at the moment. I think you probably are. Yeah, there you are. And I hope you've got a drink ready, Harvey. You said you would. And I hope that goes for all of you. Actually, what are we all drinking out there today? Because at the moment, I think I'm going to be on an IPA today. But put in the comments what you're drinking. I'm interested to know. Ninja 47, I watched the video. Good for you. And we've all got beer. Got a window in the way. Cider. Harvey Linden's on the cider. Well, we've got East Coast IPA. Now this, you like this is clever because I've got English fans, well not fans, but subscribers. I've got American subscribers, so this is the perfect blend. A bit like our little community we got going on. This is the East Coast IPA. So this is using American hops, but brewed in the English tradition. So the best of both worlds there. So cheers everybody, salute. That's pretty good. Very good. That one, if you're in the UK, that one's brewed by Green King. Very nice. Okay, so that is that out of the way. So yes, back to this. So had this surprise package come through. This is some kind of gift, I believe, from Harvey. Now, he hasn't said in the comments yet. Cheers to nearly 4K subscribers. Yes. Thank you, Harvey. And Welsh Tony, I see you've switched to OBS Studio. Yes. How do you know that? Oh, because, yeah, the obvious. It's been one of those days today. So Harvey, do I open this now or later? I'll have to wait. There's quite a delay on this, I think, at the moment. Yep, it appears there's a massive delay by the looks of things. So come on, what's it to be? Yes, I open it now. No, save it for later.
Give it half an hour.
Give it half hour, okay. Bit like when I've been to the toilet. Oh, my sign's over there, I can't reach it. Okay, so we'll come back for that then. Right, what was I going to do? Right, I was going to do a little interesting segment today of things that have happened in the tech industry over this last week through the years. Now, this year we've had Nvidia have released some graphics cards, and in fact, actually breaking news, I don't know if you guys have seen it, there is a RTX 2060 coming out, which is faster than the GTX 1070, but it's only got 5 gigs of RAM, which is really weird. But that's breaking news. I only saw that about 5, 10, 15 minutes ago. So that's a leaked thing. It was seen on a benchmark. So look out for that one. We've got on the 20th, which is Monday, Nvidia doing their full release. So we should know what graphics cards are going to be available for Christmas. Kath? Christmas? Drop a hint, you never know. So that was this week. What else have we had this week? Virgin Media in the UK have hiked their prices for the broadband again. Why? So that's another £4 a month for the broadband, so that's effectively a 10% increase. Good stuff, great. They blame it the fact they've invested £1 billion in the infrastructure when it's still not great. So I would have probably done that for a lot less. But anyway, there you go. Not much else has happened this week, I don't think, really. Anything of note, if there is anything of note that I've missed or that you think people should know about, put it in the comments and we'll have a look. I want more AMD cards for FreeSync. Yes, so do I. I want a Vega 64, but I want it for about £250, and then I'll buy it. Value for money. So, did you know in this beer, in this week, in history, many things have happened. Now, did you realise the first CD ever was released in Germany in 1982 on this day, and it was an album called The Visitors by ABBA. Now some of you in this chat or watching this video probably are like, ABBA? What's that ABBA? Well, ABBA were a band that wore very large trousers, and they were all quite blonde, and I believe they were Swedish, and they were a massive sensation throughout Europe and the UK, etc. And they were basically like the Swedish Beatles kind of thing. A bit like Backstreet Boys. Also in history, in this week, back in 1998, now you'll see why this is related to technology in a minute, but back this week, 1998, Bill Clinton finally admitted to having, with Monica Lewinsky. If you're not sure who that is, you look it up. Actually, no, you probably better not. No, definitely not safe for work. But yeah, that all came out in this week in 1998, which led to, now this is the technology link, which led to Adobe Flash and Adobe Shockwave usage shooting up on a crazy trajectory. And you want to know why? The most popular, or one of the most popular internet games of that year was a game called Jizz on Monica. Now, I'm not going to show this, and I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I guess you can kind of get the idea. So, open another tab on your browser and type. No, actually, no, don't type that in. Definitely not safe for work. So, what else have we got? Now, this is a good one. August 16th, 1995. Praise be this day. For this was the day of the Internet Explorer being released on the unsuspecting public for the very first time. Originally ripped off from the Mozilla Spyglass, I believe, and they later on sued Microsoft for changing their software. And We still use Internet Explorer to this day, although in a slightly different guise than Microsoft Edge, which they say is new, but it's kind of not because it's, well, the same thing almost. And if you click on your desktop, you'll find there somewhere that you've still got Microsoft Internet Explorer tucked away in Windows 10 somewhere or other. Also, in, what year was this? This was the same year, 98 actually. It's 95 for Internet Explorer, 98. In August 15th, 1998, Apple released the iMac G3. You know, the one with the advert with all the different coloured computers, which started off that whole kind of different coloured computer thing. Almost, you could probably say that was the beginning of RGB almost, in a way, in computing. But that was, yeah, that was announced in 1998. That is a long time ago. And some people are still using them to this day. Also, what was happening? Dell laptops were catching fire. In 2006, if you had a Dell laptop, chances are you had a battery in it made by Sony. And Sony pretty much come out of this whole thing unscathed. Dell, probably not so much. I don't think they've actually ever recovered from this whole debacle. It was the biggest component recall in computing history. Dell basically recalled pretty much every battery they'd sold in the last year. And it was, I think it was billions of batteries and billions of pounds that they lost on that. So yeah, that was not a very good thing. Now, back in this day, on 1993, August the 13th, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting for the Super NES was released on this day, which has led to a lot of people from that day onward, through different games like Mortal Kombat and Virtua Fighter, to basically destroying gamepads and joypads by just mashing the buttons like crazy and wiggling the sticks around until they snapped off in their hands, especially on some of the older quick shot joysticks, I think, which were about at the time. So what else we got? IBM introduced the first PC back in 1981. There was a communication satellite launched in 1960. And this is a great one, I kind of remember this one. In 2003, the Microsoft Blaster worm was discovered and basically screwed us all over. So that took a long time to patch, and that was the virus or worm which basically let people into your computer under different admin rights, and you had the little timer saying you have 59 seconds to shut down your computer, and it was horrible. Although it was good for me because I made lots of money because I was a computer engineer at the time, going around different companies and installing patches, etc. So thank you, Blasterworm. And have we got anything else? I think that's pretty much all it was. I just thought I'd have a look. Oh, the first email from space was sent on this day in history from the STS-43 crew on the first Apple link from space. Having a great time. Wish you were here. Send Cairo and RCS. Hasta la vista, baby. We'll be back. So, there was the news from this week. Don't know if you found that interesting. If you did, I'm going to do it again next week. But let me know in the comments what you think, and maybe we'll do it again. Let's have a quick look at the comments and see where you guys are at. Balls, we just bought the 3 email package from them. Oh, right, yeah. I'm leaving Virgin Media, Welsh Tony. Welsh Tony, where are you leaving them for? Who are you going to? Oh, there was the cat. There he was, gone. I remember them. So we're going to see Flame on the stream today? Yes, we are. You just did, probably. I only use Edge and download Firefox. I only use Edge to download Firefox. Lol, from a letter. Yeah, I gotta be honest with that. I always like using Edge. I like to keep my entire system as clean and as simple as possible. I don't like having 2 apps that do the same thing. I don't know why. I think it's probably because of using really old crap computers through my life and having not a lot of disk space or not a lot of memory or not a lot of anything. So I tried to keep it as minimal as possible, even to the point that I didn't like having Winamp and Windows Media Player. It really drove me mad. But back in the day, you kind of had to have Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass. It does. What else we got? So what spec was on the IBM? 8088. Yes, I think it probably would have been actually. I must have changed the name on their browser and it still sucks. Yes, it does. Burn92, good evening and welcome. What else we got? No idea. Virgin Media don't have fibre at my new house. Yeah, that's the trouble actually. internet in the UK isn't great, but is what it is. And who was I speaking to during the week? They were having problems and their broadband was awful. I can't think who it was now, but yeah, one of you guys I've been chatting to over the week, and they've got like a, I think they said that it was like a, lucky if they get a 2 megabyte connection, and this is in America. Mike uses Edge, unsub, unsub. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, actually not unfortunately, if it wasn't for the fact that TubeBuddy and also the live streaming feature in Chrome, if that worked in Edge, I probably still wouldn't have Chrome on my machine now, if I'm brutally honest. I actually do like Chrome. In switching between the two, you do actually notice that Edge is actually really fast. You do a direct comparison on any web page, load up Edge first, or load the page up in Edge, then do it in Chrome. Chrome will be slower. Maybe, yeah, there's more add-ons and stuff in Chrome, but I don't really use many. The ones I use for kind of work purposes, or what we're doing now. In general purpose computing, I actually prefer Edge. I said it, I'm sorry. Oh no, I've just lost a quarter of my subs. Well, it's the truth, I can't help it. I do like Edge. What else we got? Tuscany Valley is in the house. Hi Tuscany, how you doing? Did you have a good time at school? First week back, or first couple of days back? I bet that sucks. Tuscany Valley, what are you doing with Case? Do you mean the CR500? Oh, or this one? The one that I just completely put here along with all this crap and never told you guys anything about it. Just let you guess. UK internet sounds good to me. DSL, here is so much faster than dial-up. Yeah. Chrome equals RAM. Yeah, you're right actually, Harvey. Absolutely right. Yeah. My Firefox, now that's an interesting one. I haven't used Firefox since probably the late 90s, I want to say. But I don't think it was Firefox then, it was Netscape Navigator, I think, wasn't it? Not too sure. Can anyone let me know in the comments? Was it Netscape Navigator? I think it was. And then it eventually became Firefox at some point. I might be completely wrong, but anyway. Right, so I've read your comments. Where are we? We're up to date. So the case, right, this is the Woosah. This thing has been driving me absolutely batshit crazy. This is the AM1 box that I've been posting bits and pieces about on Discord and on my Facebook groups, and basically Samaritans, anyone that listen to me. Now, for those of you in America who don't know who the Samaritans are, they're people who help when you're in crisis. So yeah, you probably, if you ever get one of these, or this one, actually, if anybody wants to buy it, let me know. 50 quid is yours. But if you ever get one of these, on the back, HDMI, VGA, DVI. VGA, fine, no problem. DVI, fine, no problem. HDMI into my TV, stops the computer from booting. HDMI into that TV, which is a bit newer, boots straight away. Now, this I don't think is an HDCP issue, because it's literally not even allowing BIOS. So it's preventing the system from posting. Now, I don't know if the protection or the copyright protection would be as strict as that to not allow it even to post or to get to BIOS, to not display content. Yeah, fine, I can appreciate that. But this thing is driving me mad. But luckily this week, like I said earlier, the RIOTORO power supply that I've installed in my machine has now freed up another power supply, which has gone onto another machine, which did go into my Intel budget build, which you guys may have seen the video for. If you did see my Intel budget build video, you'll know what these bits on the desk are. So yeah, basically this still isn't working, so I've resulted at the moment just using VGA and the headphone jack. This is 2018, I do realise, and I'm using VGA and headphones. Pity me. Anyway, so that was a quick update on that. It still ain't working. So yeah, that leads me nicely on to the Intel budget build, which you guys probably know a little bit about, which I've been doing, which is with this Pentium Gold, which if you can see inside of there, the Pentium Gold is actually in the box, as is my Western Digital Green 240, and as is my Aurox H310M motherboard. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice, or will recognise, one of those. That is a Amazon return form. So yeah, I finally gave up. All three of them are going back. I put the new power supply in, hoping that would resolve the problem, and in fairness, it did actually get slightly better. Running user benchmark, is it? The online internet tool thing for benchmarking your system. Processor always came out as being in the kind of, I think it was the 66th percentile of performers, so better than expected. Motherboard, no problems at all. The graphics card that was in there, the Zotac GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, the Mini, was performing horribly, and I mean horribly. Even in very low benchmarks, it just wasn't getting where it should be for a 1050 Ti. Now, whether or not it's these parts together just don't like working together or what, I don't know. The Western Digital Green, this was underperforming something rotten. This was about 100 megabits slower, or is it 100 megabytes? Megabytes, one or the other. This was about 100 megabits or megabytes slower than what it should be, and was, every time I did a test, it said your SSD is performing way below expectations, and I could not get it to change. Tried changing the Intel drivers for the SATA. I tried all sorts of things, even turning off power management, power saving, all that kind of stuff. Turned it off, but no, it wasn't having it. The whole system was horrible, so I thought, right, I'm going to cut my losses and I'm going to send all of this back, put it in a nice big brown box for Mr. Amazon to unpack, and that means that I've got about £150 now to build a new system, which leads me on to next week's live stream stroke videos. So I've got £150 for a motherboard and a processor. I'm going to take the hard drive out of the equation because I'm going to get a different one anyway. So the refund I'm going to get for all this is about £150. So tell me in the comments, PM me, get me on Discord, whatever you want to do. What do you want to see me build on the next live stream? I'm going to do a budget PC build, possibly using the case, which I'm going to unbox in a minute, the CR500, and I'm going to build a new system. But I'm going to do it with all you guys, and you can critique my critique my methodology, build quality. Basically, just tell me what I'm doing wrong, if I do anything wrong. But let me know in the comments what you want to see me build, and I will try and build it for you guys next week. So that's that out of the way. '21, 28. Hmm? 21. I don't understand.
The time.
Oh right, okay.
The time.
I can't see the time. Kath's trying to tell me something, but I can't see what she's trying to point out to me.
Okay.
Hi Mike, what is your opinion on the G5 8500 3 GHz CPU? If it's a Coffee Lake, then honestly, I don't know. My experiences so far of Coffee Lake have not been overly positive, if I'm completely honest. Whether that's been a fluke or a stroke of bad luck or whatever, I don't know. All I know is I've built quite a few AMD machines recently, and they've all basically turned out to be my expectations or exceeded my expectations. The Coffee Lake is unfortunately the first one, which has led me to actually question whether I should be doing any Intel builds. I know that's quite a political thing to say these days, and there's a lot of Intel fanboys and there's a lot of AMD fanboys. But I just go with what works, and what works for me. It's all well and good, like other YouTubers building a PC, they build it, show it, and then next thing it's gone or whatever. But the PCs that I build, or the PCs that you see on this channel, I actually use on a daily basis. So if there is going to be anything that I don't like about them or any quirks that happen or anything like that, I will let you know and I will voice my opinion. And at the moment, I would say the Intel that I've used hasn't been up to spec. Considering the last time I bought Intel stuff, which was many years ago, granted, I don't think the quality control is there anymore. I think that's the same throughout most of the industry, to be fair. But yeah, I wasn't overly impressed. So I haven't used that particular processor, so I can't say hand on heart. Hang on, which side is it? Heart, left. Hand on heart, I couldn't tell you if it's a great CPU, if it's a bad CPU or whatever. I would expect it to perform very well, and I would expect it to. Actually, the 853 gigahertz. That seems a little bit slow. I would say clock speed wise. You sure it's 3 gigahertz? I would have thought it's possibly more than that. That seems a little low. But anyway, maybe someone in the comments can do that. How about a baller NAS build? Now, I was actually considering that because I'm getting to the stage now. I've done a few videos this week and my hard drive is filling up something chronic. But it's also difficult when Kath and I are transferring files and emails and all kinds of information and screen dumps and what have you. It actually is the pain in the ass because we've got to get off our computer, walk over, USB it across or whatever, because the network, we have got it, but it's not the easiest things to do. So it would be easier if we had a NAS with shared files, which we can just access from our desktop. So that might happen. Good idea. I quite like the sound of that. Tuscany Valley, I got my drink. What have you got? What you got, Tusk? Actually, I need some of my drink. Any deals on SSDs at the moment? Burn 92 plays. I would say hang fire. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. At the moment, there's this massive, massive glut of NAND flash memory, stuff they put in SSDs, and they're still making it, like I said in the last video, and I've mentioned a couple of times before. So production is still going at this highly ramped up kind of pace, but there's just too much of it in the market already. The market is drying up. So prices will be going down, I would say. I would be very surprised if I think I said by Christmas this year that physical hard disk drives and flash drives, like the SSDs, I think they'll both be roughly the same price, or HDDs will drop down even lower. So I wouldn't make any rash purchases if you don't have to, but if you need to get one, to be honest with you, they're great prices at the moment. You can't really beat them. They're probably the lowest they've been in a long, long time. I bought a OCZ 250 or 240 gig drive probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, almost when they first started doing the OCZs. I bought it at the local PC World store, and that was about 65, 70 pounds for a 250 gig. And at the moment you can pick up 250 gigs for kind of like 40 pounds. So they have dropped in price. They're lower than what they have been. So now's a good time, but maybe if you wait, it might be even better. Hopefully that answers your question. I want to see both AMD and Intel doing good. Competition is good for them, is good for us. Yes, it is actually. You're very, very right. AMD's Ryzen has really given NVIDIA, I would say, and Intel a real good kick in the butt, and it's starting to get into quite an interesting race to see who can be the best CPU. Not necessarily the fastest, not necessarily the most cores, but just the best value for money. Yeah, let's move on. Surprise unboxing time. Okay, let's do that. You guys ready to see what my surprise package is? And that is not anything 18 rated, I assure you. Well, at least I hope it's not. Harvey, if this is embarrassing or bad, I am going to seriously come round to your house. Actually, no, I don't know where you live now. Got a Kingston 240 gig for £39. Bargain. I saw them on eBay actually today. I think someone mentioned. Right, here we go. Let's see what we've got. Hang on, I've got to wait. Kath's doing something. Oh, she's letting the cat out. Never film videos in your home when you've got kids, cats, neighbours, or you live on a road where there's a blue zone. Now, if you're American, you possibly don't know what a blue zone is. In the UK, a blue zone is basically main roads where the emergency services can put their blues and twos on. So, yeah, well, our back garden, along the back of the garden, another row of houses, then there's a blue zone road, main road going between two parts of the county, I think, district, area, whatever. Basically, ambulances and stuff. Anyway, let's have a look and see what we got. Now, it's come from DPD, which is a courier in the UK, so chances are it's going to be knackered what's inside there. Do I need to be delicate with this, Harvey? You all excited now? I'm intrigued. I'm not sure if I'm excited. Maybe scared. I don't know if it's inside another box, but it feels... Is it a new ashtray? This is nice packaging, actually. Well done. Not too condescending.
Do that.
Do what?
Box up.
Oh, yeah. One box. Two boxes. Three boxes. Four boxes. Okay. So let me think. What could this be in four boxes? Any ideas, you guys? Welsh Tony, I didn't even know what a blue zone is. So let me think. Knowing Harvey, it's probably something. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, I know. So it's a new knife and fork set, and a soup spoon. Now, are these all the same, Harvey? Shall I open? You've asked that already, have you? Are they all the same? Should they be opened in any particular order, or? Different colours, 3D printed items. It's RAM. You printed me some RAMs. Oh, you normally download my RAMs off the internet. All right, let's go with the black box first of all, because that's right on time. Yes. Oh, sorry. No way. Now the packaging is awesome. But that is something else. Now there's a battery, well there's some batteries in there, some tiny little batteries. And that is a illuminated, by the look of it, Mikesunboxing keyring. Now that is amazing. Let me see if I can get a close-up, because that deserves a close-up. I'm going to trip over my microphone and everything, but you guys need to see this. Kath's going to do it for me. I haven't got extremely long arms. It's not going to focus. Actually, let me put something behind it. Put that background behind it. Pull the background away from it a little bit. I don't know if it's going to focus on that. It's focusing on my head. That's it, it's got it. Mikesunboxing. Now the focus bars have come up on the camera. Now that is another thing which is one of the possible reasons why I'm late. Oh, it lights up. The batteries are in it already. It's only frickin' RGB, an RGB keyring. OMFG. That is the best thing in the world. Harvey, thank you so, so much. That is amazing. Now, how on earth do you manage to do that? Because that's... Is that plastic? No, it's glass. That is glass, and it looks like it's been laser etched in the middle. So the kind of the text just floats. Amazing. Right, now, sorry. On the camera on the feed at the moment, you can probably see my Lumix camera is gone into overlay mode. So unfortunately, you've got to wait a little bit until it goes into kind of like sleepy mode. The calf don't touch, because it'll wake it up. So very shortly, those bits and pieces will disappear, so don't worry about it. It's just the feed from the HDMI on my camera isn't a clean feed until it goes to sleep, which it probably will do soon. Oh, actually, sorry, press the set button on the camera, calf. Harvey, that is cool AF. Actually, can I dangle that there? What do you reckon, guys and girls? Is that pretty cool or what? Now, if you want any of these, actually, thanks Harvey, that's cool AF. Wow, I like that. Oh my God, face palm. Ram. Oh, Tony, did you face palm because I said right on time? And black box. Glad you like it. Make sure to check out the other colours. What? There's other colours? Hang on. What you talking about, Willis? Did you know that the little guy from Different Strokes is dead? Never knew that. So that's the white one. That is really cool. And I suppose you can actually use it on a key ring to find where your car thing is, your lock. So when you come home, I've had a few drinks, love. I'll put the keys in the door if I can find it. So that'll probably work. How was I spilling it? Charles, what we got here? So this is the that's an RGB one again. Now Harvey, out of interest, how big can you get these? Because I'm seriously thinking a massive one inside the PC would be amazing. But that is so cool. Are these designed to be actually used as key rings, or are they supposed to be just as kind of display items? I don't know if I want to get it scratched in my pocket and that. RGB! Let's have a look at the last one. 200 mil? What is? What, they do a 200 mil one? That's like 8 inches. You know what 8 inches, calf? Blue. Or is it just RGB one that's stuck? No, so it is blue. Oh, those are fantastic. I'm going to put them away because I'm going to damage them. Harvey, muchas gracias. Those are cool. Now, if you want any of these made up, speak to Harvey in the chat, and they're available to you for only £500 each, and I only take a very small percentage of that as commission. Now, there are 4 of these. I am considering giving one to each of my family members, but I don't think they're actually worthy enough. Maybe Kath, if she's good. Do you think Kath should get one? Sorry, she's texting on the phone. She can't see. Oh no, she's not texting. She's doing the chat. Damn. That is cool. And also, it does actually, it's quite heavy, it does actually double up as an improvised Thor's hammer. So if things start looking a bit pear-shaped, at least I can be able to defend myself. Fantastico. So what do you think, guys? Brilliant, yeah? Yeah, we like that. Oh, this one don't want to go back in this box. So that must be the black one, because the black ones are always bigger. I was right. Right, let's put that somewhere safe, where I'm less likely to damage it. Okay, right, so I've gone long enough now. That was a fantastic gift though, Harvey. Thank you very much. I am most appreciative, as is Kath. Let's have a look at some of these products I've got to unbox today, because time is getting on and I haven't unboxed anything yet. And after all, this is, oh damn, I haven't got my t-shirt on. This is, oh, I need one of those key rings now, you know. It is Mike's Unboxing. So let's unbox something. Right, this from RIOTORO. Now, if you don't know who RIOTORO are, you probably do, you just don't realise it. Now, RIOTORO are actually one of the original manufacturers, or OEMs, for a lot of other computer component and peripheral manufacturers. Now, they've recently decided, well, not recently, probably in the last couple of years, I suppose, but more so now they're coming into the mainstream, but they've decided to actually have their own brand of components and products and peripherals and whatever on the market. So this one is the Aurox, which I hate to say, almost sounds like a little bit of a rip-off of the Gigabyte branding, the Aurox. There's not a lot in it. And if you were going to do a Google search or an internet search or a YouTube search, obviously when you're not searching for Mikesunboxing, but if you're searching for Aurox, as in the Gigabyte brand, because it's massively famous, it'll be very easy for this to pop up in your search engine. So for their marketing team, it's actually a very good idea. But anyway, that's enough about the name. Let's have a look at the product and what it does. So this is basically an RGB gaming mouse. Retails around about £30, I think. I've got to be honest with you, I haven't researched this at all. I've literally taken it out of the brown box and that's about it. So this is the Aurox Black Prism gaming mouse. And it comes with a quick start guide. It's RGB, it's got 8 programmable buttons, so that's quite a lot of buttons. And let's have a look at spec wise. It's got a, oh God, I don't even know what language that is. I'll find the details out, but as far as I know, it's got a 1000 DPI or 10,000 DPI track sensor. Basically, it's supposed to be really good for gaming. So we get an owner's manual. Your guide to great gaming. Aurox gaming mouse. The bars have gone on the screen? Yeah, they have. Awesome. So it tells you how to set up your mouse, which is pretty straightforward. I thought it would be. So you power on your PC, you plug it in. That's it. There's software if you want to. So in the software, you can control things like macros and program the buttons, etc. You've got a really nice looking braided cable with obviously USB connection. And actually, look at that USB connector. That's pretty special. Is that going to focus? It probably won't. Yeah, it will. There we go. You get the idea. That's a nice little USB cable, quite like that. And the mouse itself is actually kind of riveted together. See these aluminium bars? Go on, Kath, you do it. It's not going to focus. Yeah, if we touch the camera, the bars will come back, so we're not going to do that. But basically, this is a actually really nice weighted mouse. What do you guys think of it? What do you reckon? What do you think of that kind of look? It's pretty good. I like. Harry, do you get to keep the items, or are they just for review? Well, I actually contacted RIOTORO and said, look, I've just used one of your power supplies. I find it to be really good. Would you consider sending me some review samples for my YouTube channel? And they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Thanks for reaching out to us. What sort of things do you have in mind? So I just said, well, I'm looking at doing a computer build, and I quite like the CR500 case, but I've also seen your keyboards and they look pretty cool. So they sent me a keyboard, a mouse and a case. Happy days. They haven't asked for it to be sent back. I'm assuming they don't want it back, but they haven't said one way or the other. So anyway, let's plug this in and see what it's like. If I have a USB. Doo-doo-doo. Wow, look at that. We've got some serious lights going on there. And we've got some RGB goodness happening. So we've got a bit of a colour cycle going on there. And we've got the red, we've got the green, and we've got the blue. And we've got, ooh, what's that, orange. The mouse wheel in the middle has got like a rubberized button on there. So that is, that actually feels kind of like the Logitech Proteus, the G502. That feels quite nice. It's got a really nice weight to it. It doesn't actually feel like a, you know, get some of these mice and you pick it up and you think, wow, that feels cheap. But that is, I'm left-handed and that actually fits really nicely even in my hands. And if I was right-handed, yeah, that actually does feel very comfortable. It's quite a flat and wide mouse, so it's quite a lot of support for your arm and your wrist as well. And you've got absolute load of buttons there. So you've got kind of, obviously you've got your middle mouse button, left click, right click, back and forward buttons for the internet. You've got a sniper button, they call that. So I guess that's like kind of when you're playing these games in first person shooters and what have you, and you get like the sight view. So that's pretty cool. And you've got another 2 buttons there. You could use that for changing DPI and things like that, or set it to be whatever you want really. But actually that is a really, really nice mouse and it feels really good. I've been using a Microsoft Laser Mouse 3000, I think it is, for probably the last 5 or 6 years on my main PC, because it is one of the few ambidextrous mice that has actually got a very good polling sensor on the mouse. And it works on everything, glass, even straight on desks like this. The Cooler Master 1 that I've got up here, not got on so well with, so yeah, that does actually feel nice. I don't want to click around too much because I've got this on my live stream going on here. Bloody hell. Excuse my French. I was just looking to see where the cursor was on the screen, but this thing is so sensitive. I wasn't expecting to be that sensitive. So basically, if you look at where my hand is now, at the moment on the screen I'm at the bottom left hand corner. Now I'm in the top right. And I've moved probably an inch. So obviously the settings need changing there a little bit. That's a little bit better. Yeah, so those buttons on the top, they change the sensitivity, or the kind of, what do you call it? The acceleration or whatever. So you can, oh, well actually, yeah, that's really nice. Oh yeah, that is good. We like that. So I'm not too sure. Apparently there's some software you can download to control macros and the RGB. I won't do that at the moment. I'll do that in the full kind of unboxing and intro video. But yeah, what do you reckon? Pretty good? I like. You must be at max DPI. Yeah, I think it was. I'm using a vertical mouse by anchor. That's a really difficult phrase to say. Go away, flies. Sorry, more of a classic IntelliMouse fan. Now, did you know the IntelliMouse, the original IntelliMouse, is actually being re-released by Microsoft with all new internal components, new switching, new polling sensors, keeping pretty much the same design. But unfortunately, the only thing they have moved is the IntelliMouse had the button on left and right hand side for the for the forward and back button, but they've changed that now so they're both on one side, which kind of sucks a little bit. But check it out. There's a new IntelliMouse coming. It looks really good. But this, I'm quite impressed with. I like that. I'm going to use that for a week and see how I get on with it, and then I'm going to do a full review. So keep subscribed and watch out for that. Have you ever used a mouse with 16,000 DPI? No, But actually, to reiterate, that's what that says. That is a 10,000 DPI. So 10,000 DPI, so that is really responsive. I'm gonna have to, when this stream's done and I've packed away, I'm gonna be on Fortnite or CSGO. So if you wanna friend me up on Steam or send me a free friend request or whatever, and you wanna join in on some games, we'll play some games and you can thrash me, but I'll be using my new mouse, so I don't care. Anyway, so that's the mouse done. What do you reckon? Yes or no? I quite like it. Right, so that's that one done. So, we've got a mouse. There's something missing here. No, I'm not pretending. It is the Wet and Dry Lady Shave from Tesco. Kath wanted me to unbox that and use it on my head. The double foil shaver and pop-up trimmer will be fantastic for, oh no, I'm not going to tell you what that's for shaving, but if you want me to shave my head with it later, put it in the comments, I might do it. Ooh. Tuscany, friend me please. Okay. Harry, there has been a wasp. Has there been a wasp apocalypse near where you live? I got swarmed by at least 10 of them whilst at the zoo. Tesco? What the yeah, Tesco is a brand of kind of like your Walmart or Walgreen, that kind of thing, like a supermarket or a massive supermarket. Tesco are kind of the biggest in the UK, I think. There's kind of Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's. Did I say Sainsbury's already? No? Morrison's, etc. But yeah, Tesco's a store where you get your family groceries and you get your wet and dry lady shave to shave your lady bits. Anyway, moving on quickly. Next up, we have another RIOTORO product, surprisingly. Now, I've not been a sellout, and obviously I've not taken any money for this. Literally, I've asked them to send me to a review sample so I can give it an honest review. If I think it sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. If I think I like it, I'll tell you I like it. There's no, I'm not going to fanny around and BS you. If it's crap, it's crap. If it's not, it's not. All right? Just so we're clear. So this is the Prism Ghostwriter from RIOTORO. Now this is featuring Cherry MX Brown mechanical switches. Now, if you're a gamer or even a typist, which I think one of you, is it a letter? You're a author or writer or whatever. So keyboards to you make a massive difference to your work or your kind of your output. If you're fumbling around for keys or your keystrokes aren't feeling great, it slows you down, slows you typing down, and then you kind of like delete, delete, delete. Oh God, what was I thinking? And then you lose track. So having a nice keyboard makes a massive difference. So this keyboard, I'm intrigued actually, because for this kind of price money, you're looking Master Keys Lite setup. That's mechanical, so it's a membrane keyboard but with a mechanical feel. These are genuine Cherry MX Brown switches. Obviously you can change the switches if you want to, but that's probably not really a great idea. You might as well buy just a different version. Leave the fanning around for the Tesco Wet and Dry Shaver. Boom! Yes! Get in! C. McKnight 1984. Thank you, please. I was going to make a joke about it, but I thought there are some younger members of the audience, so it's probably best not to. And they possibly won't get it because in the UK, a fanny is a very different thing from the US version of a fanny. So I would say Google it, but that's probably not a great idea either. Oh, great. Paul's Hardware has just released a new video. Right, what is the price of this? What's the price of the Ghostwriter? That is a very good question. I will have to get Kath to look it up on the interwebs and find out. But anyway, let's get this thing unboxed. Or it's only right. It's got a stealthy design and quiet membrane keys, but it hasn't because it's got Cherry MX keys. Okay, 16.8 million color combination, customizable 16.8 million color lighting, blah blah blah. Instant media control. Now that is one thing actually, this is quite unusual. It's got a really unusual media key setup and volume key setup. I'll show you that in a minute. Obviously anti-ghosting, so I think it's got rollover for about 23 keys or more. Generally it'll do more, but they normally state 23 just in case. Cherry MX switches, it's brushed aluminium effect, dedicated media controls, dual USB 2 ports. Now it's actually got two ports, two plugs on the keyboard from what I can tell, which obviously plug both into PC. One is for the keyboard, the other one is like a USB hub, so there's two USB ports in the back of this, so you can maybe hook up a joystick or a USB port or something like that, a flash drive, card reader, whatever you want. And it's also got a detachable magnetic wrist rest. So, from the sound of it, sounds good. Let's see if it actually is. So, pretty nice packaging. Ooh, already, nice feel to those. So, what do we get in the box? In legendary Mikesunboxing style, we get a hola, hello, bonjour manual, multilingual. We get a couple of, don't know if you can pick that up actually, a couple of RIOTORO stickers. Where you'd put those, I don't actually know. I might put them on my head after I shaved it. That'd be fun. Right, price of the keyboard update. Sorry? No, it's the Ghostwriter Prism. Before I tell you the price, just make sure it's correct. Get our adjudicator to check the details. Welsh Tony, going to watch Paul's video. Do it later. Actually, Paul's Hardware is a great channel, and Paul is one of the ones that I generally try and keep up with. A lot of people don't like his style. They say it's a little bit on the kind of boring but dry side. I kind of like it. Paul, Bitwit, Linus, BPS Customs, all those guys, I really enjoy their videos. I try and watch as many videos as I can to see what's going on. Pretty much like you guys, I guess. So there we are, there is the keyboard. So we've got really, how many? 93.70. It's cheaper than that, I'm sure. Have a look on Amazon. So we get a RIOTORO cable strap, so you can keep your cables nice and tidy. You get actually a super long cable there for the keyboard. So if you've got your PC under a desk or in some kind of cabinet or the other side of a desk, then this cable is definitely going to reach. 91.96. Right, so this keyboard is captures. I look on Amazon. It's 91. How much? 96. 91.96. So not a cheap keyboard by any means. In fact, actually, I didn't think it was that expensive. Happy days. So how long is that cable, do you reckon, Kath? That's about 5 foot, 5 or 6 foot. That's 2 meters, thereabouts. So you get your switch remover or keycap remover included. So keep that safe in case you need to remove a key. And as you can see, underneath there is your cherry brown switch. So obviously you can replace those if you want to, or replace, I'd imagine you could probably get keycaps to replace that as well if you don't like that style. I actually quite like the style of writing on these keys. It's kind of, it's not too space age, and it's not kind of your old like Arial or Courier or one of those kind of fonts. It's actually quite a nice font. So let's have a look. You've got on the side here, there's your media control button. Now there is a metal, yes, metal scroll wheel. Now that is for your volume, which I think is a quite nice touch. So obviously up and down, volume up and down. So if you're watching a Quentin Tarantino video and your granny's coming into your room, you can quickly flip it down as soon as Samuel Jackson starts speaking, so she doesn't have to hear that kind of filth. Or alternately, next to it there's a mute button, which is quite nice. And actually these buttons, even the media buttons on the side, actually do feel quite nice and very high quality, surprisingly. So on the bottom, what we got? We got a red base with the logo. You've got rubberized feet in 3 positions on the front, 2 on the back when you're folded down, and 2 rubberized feet as well. So this keyboard is not going anywhere. It's firmly planted into the ground. And also included is this optional wrist rest with 3 rubberized pads also. Now this is magnetic, I believe. So normally whenever I've used these kind of wrist rests, they've always been plastic ones which kind of slot and snap into position, and have never been particularly good, and always kind of been a bit wobbly and made you feel a little bit unsecure. But that actually, it's quite a strong magnet, not overly strong, but unboxing. Yeah, that's okay. Now the one thing I've noticed here, which I don't like immediately, is the comma, the dot, and the slash button, where you've normally got them spaced out on your keys. So you've got like the arrows, the forward and back arrows, and then you've got them underneath. They're actually bunched really tightly together. So if you've got a key which has got a dual function, both functions are actually really close together. Now I'm not sure if I like that or not. That might take me a little while to get used to. But anyway, all the usual suspects are there. So it's a full-size keyboard with your number pad, and the keys actually think so. Yeah, the actuation's probably, I don't know. It's very subjective keyboards. I don't know how you describe it. I guess the best thing for you to do is to order one. If you get it on Amazon, like I do with Amazon, get stuff. If you don't like it for any reason, within 30 days, don't even hesitate. Just send it back. They'll provide you a shipping label. Send it back. Don't give it a second thought. Anyway, let's unplug that and let's plug this in. I've only got one USB plug on the on the Surface Pro, so this could be interesting. I'm currently using what's this, Aletto. I'm using keycaps. That's what I meant. Oh, it's red. It looks a little orange. Yeah, it is. It's weird. I don't know what's that. This camera is a Lumix G7, which is a pretty good camera. But for some reason, when it's doing the kind of standby mode and giving you the HDMI feed, some of the reds look really off. So I do apologise if the colours look a bit washed out or anything. I'm not sure what colour profile it's actually applying, but yeah, it does look a bit odd. Anyway. Let's turn this around because it's magnetic, very strong plastic. So hopefully you can see the keyboard there, all lit up in its glory. Actually, let's hit this light. Hopefully you can see that a bit better now. There we go. Okay. So can you all see that okay? So on the top there's your scroll wheel for the volume. It's quite a nice touch, makes it a little bit different. It's so easy for all these manufacturers to kind of copy each other, but this is actually a kind of a unique design. I don't think I've seen anything else like it before. And the RGB on the keys is actually really nice. If you compare it with the Cooler Master, which you can probably, I don't know if you can see that in the background very well. Yeah, you can, can't you? So the RGB is a lot more active on this keyboard, although it is obviously double the price. But less distracting. Yeah, and a bit less distracting. If you look at the Cooler Master one, it's like all the light kind of bleeds through the keys a little bit too much. So when you're actually using it to type, all you can see is the kind of the backlight rather than the actual key that you're typing on, which I did find quite a few times, which is why actually it's there rather than being at my main desk, because I found it during the day trying to type on it, it was an absolute pain in the butt. But this actually, because the keys shine through quite nicely and it's more of a glow behind rather than being like this harsh light, actually it's really easy. I find this the same with, what keyboard's George got, Kath? Do you remember? Is it a Razer Chroma, I think he might have? And that thing is so bright, you look at it and it's like you've just looked at the sun. So you look at the keyboard, you look up at the screen and you're like, all you can see is the keys still. What the hell's just happened? Can I show the RGB with the keycap off? Oh, you can? Oh, is this going to say something? I better not take more than one off because I'll put them back in the wrong place. There you go, Harry. That's for you, I believe. I'm sorry some of these pictures aren't the best. That is a downside of this camera, not having the autofocus active when it's in standby mode like it is now. So all part of the learning curve anyway. But so what do you guys think? Nice keyboard? I actually really like it, and this is definitely going on my desk for a while, and I'll be using it to type up my reviews and also to do my video editing on. So if it's likely to cause me any grief whatsoever, then that is when I'm going to find out if it's going to be good or bad. So that is that. RGB puke. Thanks for that. Currently using, so any more, is there any comments I haven't? I like that. I like that keyboard. That is actually very nice. Can you show Harvey? I thought George had a Steel Series RGB. Yeah, that's the one, sorry. Oh, I put the light back on. Right. I can't believe I'm still nursing this. Nice keyboard. I might have to try and get my hands on one from Amazon. Yeah, do it. Good evening, Bazooka Boy. You're a little bit late, but don't worry, so was I, so it's all good. Come on, everybody, say hello to Bazooka Boy. And also tell him off for being late. So, what's next on the beer agenda list? Actually, no, I'll finish this one. I'll open the case next. Let's get the case unboxing out of the way. Does anybody have a RGB split ergonomic keyboard? Split R. Do you know what? I haven't seen a split keyboard in a long time. I think Microsoft did one, didn't they, a long time ago? And they had a weird kind of scroll wheel thing in the middle. That was odd. Not sure if they ever really took off. But a split keyboard must be pretty good. I've sent an email to see if I can get some review items sent too. Can't see that happening though. Oh, why not? No reason why they shouldn't, Tony. If you're looking for a very hoppy tasting ale, which is really light and not fizzy, and a little bit of a hint of citrus, get one of those. It's quite nice. It's a little gassy. It's beer. No, it's a bit heavy. Oh, excuse me. Kath's just demonstrating what beers we've got in the fridge, and I'm not sure what to go for next. What are you guys drinking? Harvey's on the cider, I know. He's probably on, I would probably imagine, Copperberg. $169 USD on Amazon. Aletta, are you mental? Oh, it's not yours, you're just recommending it. Or do you have that keyboard? I can't imagine spending that much money on a keyboard. I guess if you do it for a living. Let's go with that one. Sorry, actually, let's let them make their mind up. Right then, chaps and chapesses. We have two possibilities for the next instalment. So we've got the original IPA, Green King. This is a something or other, blah blah blah. Carefully selected pale, crystal and black malts join with Pilgrim, Challenger and First Gold hops to make a complex and refreshing ale. Complexity right there. Or this one. Belhaven Brewery, the 80 shilling. I always thought that was rhyming slang. Isn't it your 80 shilling bot?
40.
Oh no, it's 40 shilling. Maybe it's two of them. Belhaven, or Beautiful Harbour, nestles among the rolling barley fields of Scotland's beautiful east coast. For nearly 300 years, we have brewed in this place using only the finest ingredients, like girders and iron brew. No, I didn't say that, I made that up. Continuing the long tradition, this range of specialty beers each has its own unique taste and style. Together, they represent the very best of Scottish brewing. So what's it to be then? The Scottish Belhaven or the original India Pale Ale IPA? Right. You got a few seconds to work out which one it is. I'm going to clear some room and we're going to get the case out.
Tony says left Scottish.
Dandelion tea. Harry, go for the one with the blue label. They're both blue.
They're green.
Well, it's the camera, I suppose. Yeah, that's a bluey green. Turquoise. That's bleu. A letter T. Not too much of a fan of fruit cider. Harvey Linden. Not too much of a fan of fruit cider. Used to get George pissed up on Koppenberg. Or was he just, you bought it, didn't like it and give it to him? Scottish, some of my homeland beer. Welsh Tony. Hang on. Or should you just go old school record lick?
It's fruit cider.
Welsh Tony, he says Scottish, some of his homeland beer. Welsh Tony. Tony, you're going to have to explain that one because I'm really confused now. Because like Wales is, hang on, yeah, Scotland's up there and Wales is, hang on, eat shredded wheat. So, yeah, Wales is over there and Scotland's over there and you're Welsh Tony. He wanted Koppenberg lol. Yeah, the name is confusing. I'm actually from Scotland. Really? You're from Scotland? With that accent? Really? Stroof. Hey. Yeah. Do you have a tartan? We'll have to talk about that another day. Right, let's make some room and try not to push the camera off the desk. Okay, right, that's it. Now is the time for the CR500. Now, if you've got any questions quickly before I get it out, let's have a look. I'm half Welsh, half Scottish. I'm born there. Moved to Wales very young. Got it. Harry, you're not even called Tony, I bet. I'm Scottish Bob, really. Yes, you do have a family, a farty Tamlin, a family tartan, although never worn it. Leroy Headley. Hi, Mike. No, that's me. Hi, Leroy. Leroy Headley. Oh, where do I know that name from? Comments. Yeah, on Facebook. Leroy. I'll have to work that one out. Tuscany Valley. He says Mike with an apostrophe. Mikey. Jesus, this thing's heavy. This is a computer case. You can probably guess that by the way that it says CR500, the next generation computer case somewhere. Oh, there, gaming case. I personally don't think this packaging fits in with the rest of their packaging scheme. This makes it look cheap. I don't like this packaging. I don't like plain brown boxes. I like shiny boxes like the S340 and those types of cases. Even Antec cases generally come in a nice shiny retail type packaging. This I don't like. I'm just putting it out there. Now, next thing to do is get this thing open. Catherine, please could you provide me with some sharp stuff to cut this open, please? Let's get this key out of the way. No, not your tongue, something sharper. Well, Tony, how much have you drunk? Haha, not a lot actually, but then I'm quite a lightweight. And also I'm naturally a bit stupid anyway, so a little bit of drink makes me, well, I would say funny, but it's probably not funny, it's probably just a bit daft. Although drinking alcoholic beverages and using a sharp knife are probably not a great idea. Oh, this don't want to come out. Oh, Jesus. I'm back. Nice glass of port. I like to save on the case packaging. Bah humbug. Actually, what I'm going to do is with that case, I'm going to fill it full of styrofoam, which I've got hanging around, and I'm going to use it to send back my Amazon returns. And I'm going to use that box just for the little Pentium processor, and I'm going to find a bigger box from a Dyson or something, and I'm going to put the motherboard in that, and I'm going to send Amazon the biggest boxes I can find, just to get rid of all my waste around the house. Recycling's not easy to do, you know. Oh, and the cat's seen the box. Go on, Em. I was just about to suggest to tip the box over. Thank you, Tony. It was a good idea. I'm glad I also thought of it. So there we go. Ow, electric shock. Oh, I hate when it does that. So, what do you think? Is this a nice looking case? It's probably really difficult to tell at the moment because it's got a load of plastic around it, but made my desk dirty. Right, so we've got roughly an inch rubber feet on the base to keep it off the bottom. Speaking of that, let's have a look and see what the ventilation is like underneath there. Disappointing really, but acceptable. So you've got two of these kind of, oh actually that's quite thick. I thought it was going to be one of those flimsy mesh filters, but it's actually quite nice. But it's going to be a pain in the butt to change it. You've got one there. Oh, that's to keep the hard drives cool in there, and also to keep it kind of dirt free and dust free. That is, oh, that's actually quite difficult to remove, so that's going to be a pain. I got a feeling that's actually been cut wrong. It looks like there's a little bit of a weird shape going on there. I don't even know if I should try getting that back in, to be honest. give up. Right, let's get rid of those to start with then. So, well, actually that one come off really easy, so that's probably okay. So plenty of ventilation on the bottom anyway. On the back side, space for a 120mm fan, which is included out of the box. Got some ventilation down the side of your PCIe connections. Got the pretty horrible like pop out or punch out tabs there for the PCI Express or PCI covers. Not really a big fan of those. Ideally, if you've got some removable ones, take all these out in the very beginning, because once you've got your motherboard and stuff in there, these are virtually impossible to wiggle out without the motherboard coming back out again. So I'd be tempted to take all of those out straight away and replace them with removable ones, get out of the way. So PSU basement in the bottom, IO shield area, pretty nice. And a what the hell is that? Okay, on the top is your IO. So we've got reset button, quite a nice clicky button, power button, again clicky button, USB 3, USB 2, USB 2, headphone and microphone, and a weird little vent there to let out the hot air. No fan mount, but a weird little vent area. That is definitely crying out to have perforations and a 120mm fan, definitely. So moving around to the side, I suppose. I wasn't going to do the front, but let's do the side. So side panel, you've got TG glass, which is smoked, I can pretty much tell. I don't think it's clear. Difficult to tell with the screws and what have you on and the cover, but this film is clear. Hello, Flame. Flame's the cat. Say hello to the cat, everybody. Oh, double-sided protection on the glass, straight out. Nice to see on the glass, actually, you've got that black surround, so you can grab it with your fingers on the inside, and it's not going to show the dirt up after. That's pretty cool. And all this plastic, everything's nicely covered. Got a nice basement going on down there. Can you see this actually on camera? Yeah, of course you can. So you've got a really nice basement there. Got a big cutout there for access to the back of CPU platform mountings and all that sort of stuff. Judging by those two sets of holes there, I would pretty much guarantee on the back of there is a mounting area for an SSD. Those holes, definitely. Oh yeah, and I suppose that punch out there would be so you can run your cables through. Excellent. Rubber grommets in pretty much all the right places you'd want. None along the top, but there's a big cutout so you can get the 8-pin EPS connector up through there quite nicely. That is the only cutout, but then you've got rubber grommets there and then an open section there, so don't really need any more along the top. Got the mounting pillars for ATX already installed, which is nice. And they're not brass ones, they're black ones, so that looks pretty good. Don't stand out like a sore thumb. Got a grommet in the bottom to run your power supply cables through for your graphics card, which is a nice touch. These grommets are a little bit on the loose side, they're not in there particularly snugly, but it's better than not having any at all. There's a section there with cutouts, so if you have a fan lower down, at the moment it's got two 120s, but I reckon we could probably squeeze another 120 in there at the bottom, no problem at all. So ventilation straight through there into the basement and all the way out through. And yeah, that's HDD 3.5, they're all behind there. Don't know why they needed to print that on there, but still. So ventilation wise, from my previous videos about these cases, not from RIOTORO, but Cooler Master and all those kind of people, ventilation's always been an absolute ball ache. And in fact, it's probably most of the reason why I've gone through about 3 different platforms of CPU recently because of airflow. Well, that's worked out all right in the end. So airflow wise, on the side, you've got ventilation down the side, all of which has got a filter behind it, which is really nice. And the same goes for the other side as well, but the front, I don't know if you can see right the way through there or not. You can probably just like see the ventilation. That is pretty nice. So let's take this back panel off so you can see right the way through. So what we got on the back, pretty much usual suspects. Actually quite nice flat IO cables. Bit disappointed at the end, they haven't sheathed them right to the end, so you got the kind of ketchup and mustard going on down here, but it's not too bad. You've got a USB 3 header, you've got a Molex connector. Why are they still using Molex? Oh, that's really bummed me out. If you're using a modular power supply in here, the one thing that you could probably do without is an extra set of Molex connectors to stop you getting cramped up down here. Now that Molex connector on the front is to power the LED in the front of the chassis. There's a RIOTORO logo on the front, just there, which will now that was peel-tastic. So actually that's really shiny. I think that's metal. No, it's not, it's polished plastic. But there is a illuminated logo, so that comes up with the RIOTORO logo in red, I believe. No RGB going on there. And also the fans that are supplied, from the looks of it, are the red LED ones. So if you're going for a red and black themed build, then this is absolutely perfect. Again, RIOTORO's colours are black and red, so it was pretty much a giveaway, pretty much like Cooler Master. They're kind of black and red or black and white. But this is actually a really nice looking chassis. You've got removable drive bays on the side there for SSDs. You've got nice cage going on for hard drives. You can get 2 hard drives in there. So this shares a lot of the kind of design language of the, what was the case? The Q-Link, the Stronghold. Very similar to the Stronghold, although this is going to have much better airflow on the front because it's, well, virtually unobstructed completely. There's that very fine mesh, but I can see that that's going to push air straight through there, no problem at all. So if you're looking to use a bigger graphics card or a hotter CPU, you've got no worries at all. And because you've got that vent on the top, which is filtered actually, believe it or not, and you've got the quite high mounted 120mm on the back, this thing's going to just pull air straight out. And it's nice to see actually you've got 2 fans on the front, 1 on the back, so you're probably going to get slightly positive pressure, although you're going to have a little bit coming out at the bottom, but that's in a separate area, so it shouldn't be a problem. But positive pressure generally means better temperatures because you've got a constant flow of air trying to get out of the case. So it's all good. We like. What do you guys think of it? Let's have a look in the comments and see what you are saying. What are you saying? Sorry, don't agree with that, Tuscany. So Fractal Designer better than NZXT.
They would like it in white.
They would like it in white. Oh, okay. What's it called? Defines. Okay. This over S340. Difficult to say actually. Airflow wise, I would say this over the S340. Even though the S340 has got that blocked off front bit, it has got 2 openings, top and bottom, which let in a reasonable amount of air, but probably only about the same as what comes in the side of there. This is proper direct airflow coming into your chassis. So if you've got any concerns about cooling, or you want to keep your system really quiet using low RPM fans, then I think having built in the S340 and having not built in this as of yet, whether this one will be easier or not, I don't know, but it looks to be at the moment as if this probably will be a little bit simpler, although the S340 probably is slightly nicer looking internally, I would say. And if you kind of like that square utilitarian look, then the S340 probably is hands-on. This is a little bit more kind of aggressive in its styling, I would say. And the full size, actually saying that, yeah, the full size tempered glass side panel actually does make for a lot of difference. If you're talking S340 Elite with tempered glass, I would say that, but then that's a lot more expensive. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. And the steel actually is, there's very, very little flex in it. And I've got both the side panels off at the moment, and it isn't got a lot of movement there. It does look really well built, and it feels quite sturdy. It seems actually that most of the RIOTORO stuff does feel kind of sturdy, like structurally, physically, it just feels really well built. I don't know if their branding actually doesn't give them credit for their quality, if that makes any sense. It's almost like they tried too hard with the branding to be this kind of edgy, gamery kind of thing, where if they'd have kind of just chilled and gone a bit more down like the fractal route and gone very kind of monochrome and style and simplistic in their style, it might have actually done them more good. But then it's all a very subjective market. Some people really like this kind of thing. Some people like it to be completely plain and quite bland. So what do you guys think? Do you like this? Do you think this is a nice looking case for the money? So have a quick look down through here. So a letter. I've always had good luck with Silverstone cases. Do you know what? I've never, in my entire history of computing, I've never built or had a Silverstone case. Never, not one. I'll take your word on it though. Like I say, I've never used one, so I couldn't comment, but maybe one day. So Welsh Tony. NZXT are best for looks, but Bet Phoenix is very budget friendly. Yeah, actually, Bet Phoenix, I would say, have got a lot in common with this. Looks wise and kind of branding wise, Bet Phoenix are again one of those kind of trying to be gamery companies, which some people like, some don't. I personally don't like the whole gamery kind of thing. I'm the same with cars. I don't particularly like the kind of the boy racer cars. I like them to be standard and kind of OEM. I kind of like that look. I like the original look, the plain look. This is kind of in between, really. If you take off the logo off the front and change the fans out, then this then becomes that very kind of understated, kind of almost like a sleeper build. You're not really expecting it to be what it is. But I don't know. When I do the next build, which is going to be in this case, so that's what I said earlier in this stream, all the Intel stuff's gone back. What do I build in this chassis? It's a full ATX, so have a look, see what you want me to put in here. So full size ATX case, full size ATX motherboard, ideally on a budget, because I am at the end of it a skinflint. I don't want to spend a load of money. Around about £150 motherboard and processor, maybe slightly more, slightly less, depending if you come up with a really good idea. I've done a Ryzen 3 2200G before, so ideally I don't want to do that again, but I did that on a micro ATX before. I haven't done it on a full size ATX, so maybe do it with an idea of upgrading. If that's something you think I should do in here, then yes, get me on Discord or Facebook or on the comments here. Send me a link to PC Part Picker or something, or just put, it's only a motherboard and processor effectively, really. I've got RAM and other stuff already, so find me a combination that's going to go in here, preferably themed. So black and red's good. We can do black and red, which probably is going to make it be an AMD build. I wonder if I subconsciously did that. But let me know. Put it in the comments and we'll see. I just dropped my mic. Drop the mic. Oh, you didn't open those. Which we did this. Oh, let's go for the blue. Let's go for the Scottish. And we'll say a few okay the news to Tony. Plenty. It's it's Molex to bring the price down to less than 50. Yeah, you're probably right. Molex is loads cheaper than SATA. No, it isn't. Reckon the esports 1 cooler would look good in this. The black and red or white. Yeah. Actually, Harry, yeah, you probably got Actually, I'm not sure if you guys have seen it or not. I've been posting it on, well, anywhere that will listen to me. I took my Freezer 33 and give it a bit of an update, and I painted it the same colour as the Freezer 33 esports edition. So I've created the Freezer 33 Noir edition, which actually looks pretty nice. And with the kind of the white on black fan, so basically the opposite of that, it actually looks quite good. Maybe if I could get it, the fan blades painted red with the black tower in the black and red case, might be onto something there. Might have to get the spray can out once again. Hey? Don't you just love half open bottles? Catherine. Now cheers everybody. Oh, that's quite nice. What's this? So it's cheaper to make, since they can get monkeys to make them practically. Nice. I don't mind Molex cables. I'm glad they got rid of ID ribbon cables on hard drives. Oh my god, I'd completely forgotten about ID ribbon cables. The amount of times trying to roll them up and then put a cable tie around them to keep them bunched up and then fold them like 45-degree angles and to try and get them to neatly go around the case. Oh, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. Well, it's not funny, it's actually expensive for me and it makes me look a bit of a dick. But anyway, what the hell, let's do it. Probably back in 2000, maybe 2001. Actually, no, it might be 99 actually. 99, 2000, around that sort of time, just before young George was born. Oh, bless him, baby George. I was building PCs for people that I worked with. I worked at a wholesale company called Booker. Now, you may have heard of them. They do kind of foodstuffs and what have you. I think they're quite big in the UK and America. But anyway, one of the shift team leaders was kind of very into games and computers, when at the time really not many people were. PCs weren't really that massively mainstream in the late 90s. So he wanted me to build him a gaming PC. Now he was dead set on a few things he specifically wanted. He wanted the very latest gaming processor, which at the time was the AMD K6-2500 with 3D Now. Now I can't remember. I think that was on an S340 chip, S370 chipset, if I remember rightly. Back when you could still use Intel or AMD on the same boards, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I might have to look back into that. Anyway, so I built this system. It was a complete budget system of about maybe £400 or £500 with, I think it had 32 gigabytes of RAM possibly. 32 megabytes of RAM. It was an awful time for PCs. I think it had probably a 20 gig hard drive or maybe an 8 gig hard drive. It was insane how small and how different things were back then. But anyway, I'm digressing. So we had this large tower case. I don't recall the name, the make of it or anything, but it had a floppy drive in it. So in order to reduce the ribbon cabling inside the PC, this is where the ribbon cable story comes to anyway. So we had our ID ribbon cable and the floppy drive cable. And if you remember floppy drives, at one half of the cable, one end of the cable, there was a twist, which kind of reversed the polarity of some of the connections so it could send and receive data. Then there was another link in the middle, and then the bit that went onto the motherboard. So I was there building the PC away quite happily and trying to make it as nice and neat, as tidy as possible. As tidy as you could in those days with ribbon cables. And the guy whose PC it was, he was actually watching me build it. And we were all very confident and happy that everything was going on right. And he said, "Oh, can you make that cable any tidier? This is the floppy drive cable, the ribbon." So I said, "Yeah, no worries." And what I used to do is get the cable and just cut off one of the excess bits. So you only had the bit that went from the PC to the floppy drive, including the twisted bit. Me, in my haste and showing off in front of my colleague, as I was prone to doing, got the knife, grabbed the connector and cut it through and cut the wrong end. So this was back in the days when all computer parts were expensive and you didn't have spare floppy cables. So it's like, that's okay, it's all right, it's not a problem, it'll be fine. So I plugged it all in regardless, hoping it would work. Plugged in the power supply. Now this is one of the first ATX power supplies. Previously the power supplies, you had like a button you had to wire to the front of the case which turned it on and off. So ATX was a big new thing. So I plugged in this power supply, which again was quite expensive, plugged it all in, plugged everything in, and turned the PC on to boot it up for the very first time, to see it in all its glory and wait for the floppy drive to whir into action and the hard drive to spin up and the CD to do whatever it was doing, and press the button and the floppy drive light just stayed on and constantly just searching for a disk because it was completely freaked out because the cable was wrong. So there, Kath and I'm trying to think of the guy's name it was now. Craig was his name, and they were there both watching on, and I said, oh that's right, don't worry. So I disconnected the Molex adapter from the floppy drive, or the floppy drive connector. Of course, doing that whilst the system is on is a bad thing, unlike these days with SATA where you can just disconnect things and it's not a problem because the cables are slightly longer to make sure that it's got a proper grounding before it comes out. I pulled this cable out, and of course on doing that there was an almighty bang, the power supply popped. So then I had to turn around, completely embarrassed, completely flushed in the face, apologise and say, don't worry, I will buy you a new power supply. To which he added, and a floppy drive. So, those were the days. We've all made mistakes. Unfortunately, on that day I made quite an expensive one, so it cost me a floppy drive cable and a power supply. So anyway, there was my story about ribbon cables. I thank you. Harry's got a silver stone. Oh, Harvey's got a silver stone. Catching up on the questions now. No, we want CPU and motherboard for the next build. Yes, that is right. I do want a, ideally, I want a B350 motherboard, ATX full size. I'm kind of edging towards one of the MSI gamery type ones because they're black with red traces around. Being I've got black and red going on in this case, it would be very nice to follow on that theme. The thing is with black and red, if it's done well, it will always look nice. The only thing is if you do it badly with too many different types of red, like variations of red, it doesn't always look great. So you have to be really careful trying to match up the reds to make sure they're all that kind of shade of red that is right, rather than some pale, some dark, etc. But yeah, motherboard ideally, I think it's essentially it's going to have to come down to probably being another AMD Ryzen build. Not too sure what chip yet, although what we could do is if we get a slightly better chip, put a bit more money in the kitty, maybe we can steal the Ryzen 2200G out of Kath's computer, give Kath an upgrade, and we can do a little bit of another budget build in this little thing. So again, put in the comments, let me know what you want to do. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Easy done. Yeah. Made your own esports 1 cooler. Yes, I'm not going to call it the esports 1. I'm going to call it the esports MU. For Mikesunboxing, obviously. Ouch, the old parts were not hot swappable. I know. And I found out to my my expense. And I think back then, a very basic, probably 300 watt ATX power supply was about £30. So back in probably 98, 99, £30 was probably worth about £50 now, maybe, thereabouts. And being that I was working in a warehouse earning minimum wage pretty much, and Kath was heavily pregnant with child, baby George, it wasn't a good time for me to have to spend money. And I think, actually, if I think back, Kath was probably quite pissed off at me for being an absolute douchebag and trying to cut corners as well as cut cables. So yeah, that didn't work out very well. Right, haven't got any more questions or anything else I need to answer? Zalman make good cases, but not the best looking. Yeah, I had a Zalman Z11. It had this kind of weird bulge thing going on the bottom, like a turbine engine with fans that pulled in from the side, which were basically rubbish and noisy. And I sold it really quickly. But somebody actually asked me to build them a system in that specific case. They went out of their way to get that case, and I said no. Get an Antec 900. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's much nicer. No, gotta have the Z11. I like Zalman. Fine, whatever. Built it. He didn't like it. Can you change the fans? Okay. Anyway, I digress. What else we got? Got any more questions in there, or is this window gone? What's the last one you got? A letter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's your fan?
Where's my fan? What fan?
Your black.
Oh, my esport. Do they want to see it? Check out my fan. Oh, not much room now.
The new one.
Mm.
You did.
Right. Don't try it, kids. It's not good. Oh God, I'm gonna drop it in. Right. So earlier in the week, this was a little bit of fun. Well, I say fun. It wasn't fun because it was really windy outside, and I ended up eating a lot of spray paint. So I managed to get hold of one of these from Arctic. Very generously donated one of these to the channel for review, which I still haven't done. Oh, excuse me. That's quite gassy, that one. I did unboxing, but I haven't done a review yet. I've got to install it. So the Freezer 33 normally is kind of like the Hyper 212. So you've got these chrome fin stacks, or silver or aluminium or whatever you want to call it. So I took it in the garden with a can of spray paint, and I created Frankenstein's little brother. So essentially, if you look at it from the top, I don't think there's actually any difference at all in the fin stacks. I think they are actually identical. The only thing that Arctic changed is the fans, and obviously dipped it in paint. So I figured what they can do, I can do. So I dipped it in paint, done a reasonably okayish job, I think. Doesn't look too dissimilar, I don't think. What do you reckon? Not bad. So that comes to me. If you were going for a single fan version of this, which one would you want? Freezer 33, Mikesunboxing style. Freezer 33 esports edition. Now bear in mind the price difference. £40, £20. Which one would you want? Mike, you forgot to sniff the things you unboxed. I did because, for very good reason, there were no exposed PCBs. If there had been exposed PCBs, especially on the keyboard and mouse, I think I'd have been quite upset, and I'd have been sniffing with tears and streaming nose rather than sniffing as in enjoying the fragrance. Welsh Tony, £20 plus spray cost, yeah. The spray only cost me £3 or so. Aletta wants the eSport version, but yours is well done. Well, thank you, I think. Actually, the eSports edition, the fans themselves, those fans do look really nice, don't they? I like the look of that. I'm not sure whether I'd prefer the blades to be white, but I think it does look quite slick. And it's actually incredibly heavy in comparison. I know it's got an extra fan on it, but fans generally aren't that heavy, but these are like rubber lined or something. The white bit you can see on there is actual rubber. So the rubber actually acts as a really good noise dampener. Right, so that is pretty much everything discussed in stuff today. So if there's any questions we've got, I'll probably wrap this up what time is it? It's 11 o'clock. Wow, that's 2 hours of my life that I will never get back, and 2 hours of your life that you will never get back. So have you, Harry, I'm not spending £40 on a cooler, so I'll go with the budget Mikey cooler. Yeah, that's my boy Harry. That's the style. In actual fact, I did contact Arctic today and sent them pictures of it and asked them if they would consider doing a special edition of this. I didn't mention that I'd quite like to have Mike's Unboxing logo put on it as well, or maybe get Harvey to laser etch some logos into them for me. But it would be nice to see. I actually drop everything. I much prefer the look of that with the black fins. I think that looks far nicer. Even though my paint job isn't the best, I'll be honest, and I did do it inside of a cardboard box in the back garden in forced gale winds, but I think it looks alright. I think it looks much better than the silver anyway, and it's less distracting. If it's in your system, it's not going to stick out like a sore thumb, and it's going to look pretty stealthy in there. And if you've got some kind of minor RGB or some red LEDs in there, it'll just look right. So yeah, if you want Arctic Cooler to start making these, find my tweet to them on Twitter and join in the conversation and say, yeah, we want to see more of Mikey's coolers. That'd be good. Wow, 11 there. It's only 6 PM here. It's 5 here. And now it's broken. If Arctic makes it, I'll buy the Mikey cooler for sure. Thank you, Tuscany. That's very cute. But I think they should. I genuinely think that looks much nicer in black than what it does in silver. And being the fact that they're running these coolers through the paint press anyway to make these, which are exactly the same fin stack. I don't think there's any difference in it whatsoever. It looks absolutely identical. So why they just don't do all of them, I think, or maybe they're doing it deliberately to make that seem cheaper, and this look like a premium product. Maybe that's the reason behind it. We'll never know. Maybe I'll ask them. Okay, so any more quick questions before we wrap this up, or anything you would like to say? I'm looking for it in the comments. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else pressing at the moment. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you. Oh, hang on, who's that? Harry, ever done a build with the i3-8100? It's a good CPU, but not as overclockable. So you can save on the MOBO. Actually, yeah, a quick answer to that is essentially why I ended up buying the G5400, because I was kind of thinking along the same lines that it's an Intel budget CPU. The i3-8100 is effectively I believe it's a 4-core CPU. It doesn't have any hyper-threading as far as I know. So it's not far off the lower Pentiums really in terms of performance. But the price point is, which I think is around about £80–90, maybe touching 100. I still don't think that it's been a good choice, especially with the Ryzen 2400G a little bit more expensive, or the 2200G being a little less expensive. So personally, anything in the budget range of Intel at the moment, I would be unlikely to touch with a barge pole. I don't think I would probably go for anything less than a 6-core for mid-range or mid to high end. I don't think there's any point. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up really. It's been great to talk to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. If you have, give the video a like and smash the subscribe button and the chime icon. And hopefully next time I do a live stream, A, I'll be on time for it, and B, you guys will be there along for the ride, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks to RIOTORO for sending me the case, the keyboard and the mouse. Keep an eye out for the videos on those. I'm going to do full reviews and give my honest appraisal of their products and see what it's like. Hopefully, if I get enough interest from you guys over the week, I will try and do a live build on this next Friday, same time, same bat channel, and we'll try and get that built up, get some ideas over the week, and I'll get the components in from Amazon, and we'll try and build something nice in there. Who else do I need to thank? Oh, thanks obviously to Harvey for his kind gift of those key rings, which are absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's your generosity has been outstanding. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody, Tony, Aletta, Tuscany, Harry, who else have I missing out? Harvey, obviously. Thank you. Oh, that's me again. My pop-out box is gone, so I'm completely lost. So whatever you're saying, I can't see it, but thank you all anyway. I've had a great time. Hopefully you have too. Catch up with me on the Discord server, or pop me a message on YouTube or Facebook or whatever you want to do. Keep in touch. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions, be it tech related, be it anything. Just yeah, keep in touch. I love to hear from all you guys. Hope you've had a good time. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and we will catch you again in the very next live stream. Thanks for watching.